everybody. It's so good to finally be here with all of you on this International Women's Day. We are so happy to have all of you. We're so happy to be putting this event together for you, women who are willing and wanting to reboot your career as an expat woman here in the US. So I want to welcome you all, and I also want to introduce myself. My name is Clarissa Gainey. I am the CEO of Bossa Creative. And Bossa Creative has this program called the Protagonist Experience. And we're going to be talking about this program in a little bit. But right now, I wanted to introduce the Bossa Creative team because without them, this event would not have been possible. So I want to thank Isabella Visi. And I think that she can say a little hi for you there, wave hi. I also, Isabel is our VP of Content and Copywriting. I also would like to thank Tiago Lopes, but he's in the backstage. He's moving all those screens so he can't put his video on screen right now. But thank you, Tiago. And I also wanted to thank Vinicius Monteiro. He is our Chief Strategy Officer. And he is a man who says, let's go this way, and we follow him blindly because we trust his judgment. So thank you all for everything that you've done to make this event happen. And I also want to thank our sponsors. Without them, this event would have not been possible. So I want to thank Upstate International. I want to thank Bem Brasileiro Brazilian Market, the Greater Malden Chamber of Commerce, and the German-American Chamber of Commerce of the Southern U.S. Thank you so much for your support, your help, your promotion. You've been promoting this event. You've been investing in this event. So we really thank you for everything that you're doing for us. I also want to thank Upstate International and Greenfield Tech because they will be participating later today with us. We're going to have 2 info sessions with them. So I really appreciate your help into promoting your programs and everything that you do to help women get ready, get prepared, and also build community here in the upstate South Carolina. And I want to let you know, those of you who are watching, that we're going to have a round table. And after the round table, we're going to have a Q&A, a question and answer session, where you will be able to ask questions, or you can share maybe something, a sentence, a word that you heard from one of the speakers that really touched you. So all during the round session, if you can go to YouTube and just leave a comment there. We're going to be looking for those questions, and then we're going to ask those questions. And I also would like to ask you to follow us here on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So follow the Protagonist Experience so you know what is coming up, so you know the tips that we will be sharing with you, the programs, the events. We're going to have another event, and that event is going to be in Simpsonville, South Carolina. And this event is going to be for professional headshots. So you can make sure that you sign up when we open registration. And those headshots are going to be at a discounted price with a partner photographer that we have. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. And I'm seeing here on Instagram, we're also live on Instagram. Somebody's asking, how can I go to YouTube? There is a link on our bio on Instagram that you can click and go to YouTube, and you can watch us live on YouTube. So with that being said, guys, like I said, we are Bossa Creative, but I want to let you know what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. So watch this quick video here about Bossa Creative. So we are Bossa. That's what we do, and that's why we do it. We are really passionate about helping expat families getting acculturated, having that sense of belonging. Because guess what, guys? When I came here to this country in 2006, just like many of you, I did not know what it was like to live in another country. So I know we at Bossa, we understand the pains, the growing pains that expatriate people, of international people feel when they get here in this country. So we're here to help you. We're here to walk with you. And we're here to really make your life here 100%. So when we think about the protagonist experience, we think about helping expat women um, getting into the workforce with confidence. And that's what we do. And that's why we have this event here for you today, because we want to help women of all nationalities, not only expat women, but women of all nationalities, including Americans who want to reboot their careers, to feel like they have everything, they're well equipped to enter the workforce here with confidence. So, and I have a little bit of a description here of what the protagonist experience does. We exist to facilitate the process and help women of all nationalities enter the American workforce. So if you are here, just like I was 15 years ago, not knowing where to start, not knowing how to look for a job, guess what? We're here to help you. So stay tuned, watch this event, and I'm sure that you're gonna feel encouraged. You're gonna get some answers, and you're gonna know where to start looking for jobs. So let's go to our roundtable, and I am so excited about this roundtable today. I could not be happier with the participants that we have, with the speakers that we have. Those are three women that I know personally, and I can attest to how amazing they are and how much they have to share. So I would like to welcome our speakers. First, we have Christine Ortiz. She is a State Farm agency owner. Christina was born in Bolivia. She lived in Japan for 7 years, so she speaks Japanese too. She holds a bachelor degree as a commercial engineer. She has worked for some years as a university professor. She's been working at State Farm for the last 15 years and as a State Farm owner, agency owner for 5. She was nominated 3 times to be a member of the $1 Million Roundtable. That's no small thing. And she also has qualified 4 years for Chairman's Circle with State Farm. She is a wife and a mother of 2 kids. I just wanted to say hi and welcome, Christina. And we're going to give you all an opportunity to talk after I introduce everybody. So we're all here together. Next, we're going to have Margie Lewis. She is the owner of Prime Realty. Margie was born in the US, but her background is Cuban and Puerto Rican. She is the executive VP of sales at Prime Realty. She has been a top producing agent for the past 4 years. She is fluent in Spanish because that's her background. She has a passion for building relationships, and she provides impeccable service for her clients. And I know that for a fact. She's worked as a mortgage processor in this industry, and she's a proud mother of a son and a daughter. So welcome, Margie. And we also have Pat Pomeroy. Pat is the CEO of the Greater Malden Chamber of Commerce. She was born in Nashville, Tennessee, and she's a former business owner. She's increased the chamber membership by 600% since she started. So that's no small deal right there. She started a leadership and ambassadors program and lunch and learns at the chamber. She was awarded the City of Malden Community Awards. She was also in the leadership class in the Golden Strip. She is the recipient of the Duke Energy Service Awards, and that's a major award that only one person a year receives. She was named one of the 2021 Women of Influence in the Upstate by Greenville, by GSA. She's the author of a cookbook. She loves to cook, and she's working on her second cookbook. Pat is also a wife and a proud mother. Unfortunately, guys, Rafaela Furtado, she was not able to join us today, but we're gonna have these three amazing ladies here with us today. So, so I'd like for you to give you all a chance to say hi right now, so we can start with our roundtable. And guys, like I said, keep those comments coming. Just type those comments on YouTube while you're watching us, and we're gonna have a chance to ask them questions at the end of this roundtable. So I can we unmute their mics just for a little bit so that they can say hi? There we go. I see them.
Hello.
There we go. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Christina, you're unmuted. So this is how we're going to do. We're going to be, just talking, because it's so important that women hear what other women have experienced. And I think that regardless of nationality, it is important for women to help each other and for us to share our experiences, because we know that being women in a men's world, sometimes it's not that easy. So my first question is for Margie. So Margie, we have, right now we have amazing speakers at this roundtable, and we decided to talk to you about how being an immigrant can set you apart, because you have that background. You have you're an owner of a realty company here in Greenville, and you are known for hiring people that have different backgrounds, who are bilinguals. So that's right up your alley. So we'd love to know a little bit about your story, first of all, as a second-generation immigrant. And how can you share a moment with us where being a Latin descendant set you apart? Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Absolutely. So a little bit about my background. Both of my parents were born, one in Cuba, one in Puerto Rico, moved to the States when they were younger. So I am a first generation born in the United States. I spoke Spanish before I spoke English. So I had to learn to speak English in elementary school. My mom was a single mom and worked two jobs basically to make ends meet, because number one, she was a woman, but number two, she was also not from the United States. So she could never really advance in her career because of her status. So that really instilled in me a desire to build something for myself, because when you get into the workforce, people sometimes judge you based on your background, an accent, or something like that. So I very quickly tried to figure out how I could turn those things into a positive. So for me, being Latin, I used that for myself to get into my first sales job. I was hired as a receptionist at a front desk, but really wanted to get into international sales. So I basically provided the sales manager with a list of all the reasons why she should hire me. And the number one reason is that I was international. So I could help and make people feel more comfortable in a buying process, because I was actually one of them as well. Yeah. So that's really how I started in sales. And the same thing with real estate. When I moved into real estate, I was hired because I could speak Spanish. Like I promoted myself that way, that I was a Spanish speaking woman. And in Greenville, there wasn't a whole lot of Spanish speaking real estate agents. So I used that background, the ability to speak Spanish, to actually set myself apart. But it also helped to elevate me because I was bringing something that nobody else had quite yet to the table.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. And I think it's an asset, like speaking two languages is an asset that a lot of women who, when they get here right away, they actually feel a little embarrassed, maybe because of their accent or, I don't speak English that fluently, but hey, you speak another language fluently,
Right.
and that can really set you apart.
Embrace
That's
that.
wonderful. Yes,
Mhm.
embrace that. Now, Christina, you also came to the US, well, like me, as an immigrant. So you know too well that in order for us to succeed professionally, a lot of times we just cannot accept a no for an answer. We have to be resilient, and you are a great example of resilience, and that too has taken you very far in your career. So although you have been very successful throughout your careers since Bolivia, I am sure that you have heard a lot of no's in your professional life. So can you share a situation where hearing a no, when you got a no for an answer, helped you improve your career and pushed you forward? Can you hear us, Christina? I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty here with Christina. She said she can hear me. Can you hear me, Christina? Can you? I don't think she can hear me. Just give me a second, guys.
Arisa, are you talking to me? I can barely hear you. So I don't hear you anything. We're trying to get another device too. I cannot hear any of your voice. So if it's my turn to talk, just give me the thumbs up because I don't know. I cannot hear you anything. I can hear you very slow.
Let me see if she can hear us through YouTube, through live on YouTube. Pat, let me go ahead and move on to your question while they're trying to connect with the another device. So Pat, unlike Christina and I, you are an American, but you know a lot of entrepreneurs who were immigrants, and you helped them through the Greater Malden Chamber, which I am a member, so I can testify to that. Can you tell us some of the characteristics that most successful professional women have that you've noticed throughout all of these years as a CEO at the Malden Chamber? What makes someone successful? Oh, Pat, we can hear you. Hang on. I think we need to unmute you.
You can hear my southern
There
accent.
you go. We'll go back to you, Christine, in a little bit.
Okay. I think what makes a person successful is when they're very passionate, not only about their life, but their lives professionally and with their families. I think that when you do what you love, you will never feel like you worked a day in your life because work becomes everything and you always know how to separate that. I think another thing is we all have to have confidence. And sometimes we just need another woman to give us a little push to help us to get to where we really want to be in life. We're just a little bit afraid sometimes to do that. Also, I did this study about men and women, which we, of course, totally different. But one of the things I came up with I thought was very interesting was, and this is from Harvard, but it says that men will apply for a job when they only meet 60% of the qualifications.
Wow.
Women, on the other hand, will only apply for a job when they meet 100% of the qualifications. So I think that just shows the difference in how of course, we're all different, but as women, we always look for perfection. I don't know if it's always there. We're always looking for it. And I think that makes a really big difference in our lives and how we approach everything in our life. I think successful women don't always follow the road everybody else follows, because I think we all have to find our own road and branch out to get to where we need to be. I think that's really important. Also, I think that empowered women know how to handle failure. We all have failures, but if you're an empowered woman, you handle it with grace and dignity, where some people are not quite like that. I think too, all of us need a strong support team. I will say this for me personally. I see two women right here who are wonderful support teams for me since I have been here. And you all have made my life so much better. It's also been so rewarding when I see how successful you all are and what you have done to get to where you are today. So,
well, you're wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and I think one more thing is we also need to be very grateful every day for what we have, who our friends are, what we're doing in life. I think it's very, very important. But having women in your life as your support system is wonderful.
Yeah, that's very important, because women have that special bond. And I think that we all need to be a cheerleader and, embrace the American culture, be a cheerleader and have a cheerleader in your corner.
Absolutely.
And Pat, about that study that you saw at Harvard, I saw this post the other day that said, ladies, if you meet 100% of the qualifications listed on a job listing, you are overqualified. Because they post that, but they're not going to get all of those all of those qualifications. That's the ideal candidate, and probably the ideal candidate does not exist. Because you're right, we are perfectionists, but we just want to be the best that we can be. Now, Chris, I think that you can hear us now. Christina? To be the best that we can be. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I have two phones here. Yes, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Yes,
so
that's perfect.
Yeah, my question for you was that just like me, you came to the US as an immigrant. So you know too well that for us to succeed here professionally, we cannot accept that no for an answer. And so you are a great example of how being resilient can take you far in your career, because you are a resilient woman, you are a strong woman, and an inspiration. So although you have always been successful in your career since Bolivia, I am sure that you've also heard a lot of no's. So can you share with us a situation where hearing a no helped you improve your career or pushed you further, just gave you more strength to go, I'm doing it, I'm pushing forward?
Sure, Carissa. Well, thank you so much to have me here, to invite me here to encourage another woman. I think we underestimate us sometimes. We have so much, ladies, to offer. We're so strong. We have so many strengths. So I think it's very, very important that you realize that. So I came from Bolivia. I live in Japan for 7 years. I'm in the United States for 15 years. I have been told many times, no's, but I learned a lesson. First of all, you need to find another people. You have to find people that support you. And I did find a lot of people that was my supporter. And what is the word resilient? What it means is the ability to recover from the no's fast enough to always move on. Another good skill that I think we as females need to learn is adapt to the change, adapt to the circumstances. And then also the third skill is you need to change sometimes, and you need to move forward, and you need to realize what is around you. If you live now in the United States and you came from another country, yeah, you have an accent, but you also have to have a list of all your good skills and work on that and work in your weakness to make it better, right? So recently, a huge story of a lot of no's is a second agency was opening for agents to have a second agency. I was told that was almost impossible for me to get a second agency this early in my career as an agent. But I came and I worked very hard. And yesterday they gave me my second agency. So don't ever, ladies, take a no, because until you do your best, I mean, you are the only person that's putting that barriers on you. So nothing is impossible. When I moved to this country 15 years ago, I couldn't speak any English. I thought maybe I'm going to be washing dishes the rest of my life, but I don't want that. I don't want that path. I can change that. And all of you can change that. You just need to have the courage to do it, because that's the important thing, you know. We want to do the things, we want to change, we want to be resilient, but find the courage in your heart. And sometimes we are afraid, and it's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to not know if you're doing the right thing, if you're applying for a job that you might think you don't have all the skills, or you might think that the circumstances will be different there. But ladies, take that risk, because it's so much worth it to take that risk. And I took that risk 5 years ago when I stepped out and I took my own statement agency. And I met a wonderful woman. Please hold hands with another females, because we have to support each other. We have to have our backs, you know. The old boy clubs and all that, that's over. Today is the females, and we have to back up together and find those women like you. Find those like I did. I found Pat, I found Teresa, I found all these support system that makes me to feel comfortable, even in a place that I'm not sometimes very comfortable. Maybe if I'm getting out of my zone of comfort, but I know I have these ladies that love me and I love them. And I have an office of all full females here in the office, because I believe so much in the strength. We're mothers, we're wives, we're daughters. I mean, we have so many skills. We can multitask. And international women, I know you have been through. I've been international woman many times in my life, in the different countries, different languages, and develop that skill to adapt to your circumstances and challenge yourself, because never take a no. You're worth it so much. You can bring so much to the table as a culture, and you will always find people that is ready to take that, and don't take ever a no. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think it was amazing how you and Pat kind of said the same thing. You echoed the same thought. We need to have a support system. And Margie, you know, I know that you do the same thing. I think that all of us realize that helping other women and allowing other women to help us too, so we can support each other, we can help each other. It's very important. And just hearing your answers just makes me think of why we decided to create the Protagonist Experience, because we want to be that support system. We want to be what women out there, they don't have. And I look at myself and I think, wow, I wish I had a support system somewhere that I could go to look for answers professionally. I remember when I was looking for my first job, I didn't even know where to look for a job, what websites to go to look for a job. And I knew that the clock was ticking. I had to apply for a job because I was leaving grad school. So it was crazy. So I think that when we have that support system, and when we have people who can help us find the answers, I think that makes our journey so much easier for us to push forward. Now, Christina, let me ask you this. This is a kind of a follow-up question. You were an employee for many years, and now you are an owner. You have your own State Farm agency, which, by the way, was second in the nation among new agents. And this is just so amazing. And I think it's so amazing for me to know you and to know how hard you've worked to get there. And second in the nation, like an immigrant woman. So I'm telling you, ladies, it is possible. Hard work in this country pays off. It is the land of opportunities, but you have to really believe in yourself. And like Christina said, don't let yourself stop you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have your friends in your corner that say, you can do it. Let's do this together. So, Christina, you need to be resilient still. Even though you are the owner, you are a very successful business owner, you're still resilient. So, in your experience, how is it possible to continue to believe in your potential after you hear a lot of no's? Because a lot of people just deflate. It's like, oh, I'm applying for jobs and nobody has asked me for an interview yet. And I'm sure that Margie, you've probably had that experience as well, being an employee, and I have that experience many times. So, there was a point in my life that I would send out like 20 resumes a day and I would not hear back from anybody. So how can we stay resilient, and keep believing when you hear no, 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 time after time? What do you do? Hear back from anybody. So how can we stay resilient?
Yes. So Clarissa, that's such an important point, because when you are having a lot of no's and you're starting to get frustrated, that's where you need to sit back and you need to figure it out what skills you need to get better. I mean, why people is not calling you back? What are your weakness? And we all have, and maybe it's that you're too afraid. Maybe when you go to an interview, you lack confidence, and you need to work on that, because there is different strengths that you have to work through. If you are not having the answers that you're getting, is because maybe your confidence level, and when you go to a place, you can reflect that. So it's very important, I think, that first of all, you need to work in your confidence. Confidence will attract people. People wants to hire people that is confident enough to do the job. People wants to hire people that's likable. People wants to hire people that can give that secure to an owner to say, hey, I want to learn this. I will get the job done. And I got the proof. These are my previous jobs. This is what I did. I get the job done. It might take me 10 more hours than another person because I don't know the language or because of different things that I don't have today, but I will get the job done. And I did develop here in my office another females that they are international females. And sometimes I'm amazed because the only thing I have to do is build that confidence in these wonderful women. And I had a lady from Colombia that she could not ever speak a little bit of English 5 years ago, and she's about to be my manager here because this lady has so much confidence right now that she can lead the world. So I think finding mentors in your life to give you that confidence, it helps, Yeah. So you have to work a little bit on that area. If you are getting a lot of no's, you need to change something, because you're going to start to have a lot of yeses when you figure it out to unlock your potential.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And that's so true. You said something that makes a lot of sense. Find a mentor. Maybe there's something that you can tweak and improve. Maybe it is a matter of having that confidence, and whatever it is, know that you can get better. I think that's the key point there. And I agree with you. I think it's just so inspiring to hear all of you here. And I personally, I feel very, strengthened and encouraged just hearing what you have to say. This is just, for me, is a once in a lifetime opportunity to be talking to you on International Women's Day. Again, I have to say that. How amazing is that? Now, Pat, let's talk a little bit more about entrepreneurs. Since you've mentioned, Christina, and you know Christina personally. So what advice would you give women who don't know where to start a new business? Because I'm sure that some of the women who are watching this right now, they have that entrepreneurship drive like I did, and like I do. But a lot of times we don't know where to start. And I remember when I first went to your office, I scheduled a meeting with you. I did not know you. And I said, I need to join a chamber of commerce. So I remember the first time that I walked into your office, and you were so patient, and you told me the first thing that you need to do is this. And I followed your lead, and here I am today. So, what advice would you give women who want to start their own businesses? Oh, we need to unmute. There.
Okay. I think a lot of women, you have a thought, I want to start a business, but you really don't know how to begin to start a new business. And so what I do here in the office, I have 10 steps that I pull off my computer and I hand it to you. These are your 10 steps. And if you complete these, you're going to be well into finding a business and getting started. I think one of the first things about having a business is you have to have a solid business plan. A lot of people walk in here with no plan. They just decided today they're going to open up a bakery, but they have no idea what they're going to do. There are many organizations in our area, we're very blessed, that will offer you free service. They're going through Clemson, Small Business Administration, that can give you the information that you need to get a business plan started. I think also location is everything. I have seen numerous businesses open up recently who have very, very bad locations, and I worry about them. So when you're a business in the Malden Chamber, I take you under my wing, and I take the worry off of you because I like to put it on me so I can worry about you. And the other thing is we have a lot of different state laws, city laws that you have to abide by. I don't want to see someone come out and not go have gotten their license and then they get fined. So we want to go through each and every one of those steps, even go to the bank and, get your ID numbers and all that. So I go through all those with them. The other thing I always say, a good starting point for anyone starting a business is coming to your Chamber of Commerce, particularly our Chamber of Commerce, because we have, not only is it me, but you can see Christina, you can see Clarissa, but we have a lot of women in our group who want to help you. And I think that's what makes us so different is we have a chamber where everybody wants to help you. They want to see you be successful. And you don't see that everywhere because it's not just about me, it's about all of us because we're in this together. Another thing is I think you have to have a lot of confidence and don't ever be afraid to ask because there's always someone there with the answer to your question. And in our group in particular, I say our group because there's so many women in this group. If you join, you're a member of our group that are right there waiting to help you. I once had a business long ago, and I never found anyone to help me. I was on my own. And once I really started working with the chamber, I realized how important that is. As we said, we all need mentors. We all need someone there to help us. And if you go through all the different items that I give you, you're going to be ready to start a business. So,
yeah, I was. So if I did it, everybody can do it. Well, now, Margie, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is what I love about my job. I love it, especially when women come in here and they're like just lost, and I'm so excited to help. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Now, Margie, you are a very successful entrepreneur. So you started also like an employee, and now you're an employer. So Prime Realty, South Carolina, really stands out because you have such a diverse body of agents there, bilinguals even. But you were born in Florida, and you have Spanish as a language, like your home language, the language that you learned at home. how did you think that you used your fluency in the language to differentiate yourself and find a job in the US? You've talked a little bit about that, but I also wanted to ask you if you think that speaking 2 or more languages can really be that one thing that can set people apart.
Yes. So when Christina was talking about confidence, sometimes when we speak 2 languages, we get nervous that we're going to make a mistake. We're not going to pronounce something correctly. And so confidence plays a big role in it. Be confident in who you are, even if you speak 2 languages, even if you think you have a thick accent or people aren't going to understand you. When you speak with confidence, and I train my agents, I have 26 agents that I basically coach and train. I tell them, when you speak with confidence, other people start to believe what you believe, because that's what you're putting out there.
Yes.
So when you stand in front of people and you have that confidence about you, you all of a sudden forget that you have an accent, or that you may not be speaking with, a correct word or use a phrase correctly. So speaking 2 languages is a huge benefit, because there are so many people moving into this country that don't speak English. I mean, we in Greenville specifically live in an area where you've got BMWs, you've got a lot of people who speak German, you've got a very large French population because of Michelin, and we have a large Spanish speaking community. So we live in an area where you've got people from all different walks of life that all speak different languages. And so having that second language helped me personally, especially in real estate, because there was a whole demographic of people that weren't being serviced, because it's intimidating to buy something, especially probably the largest purchase you will ever make in your life is your home. Yes. And not understanding the language or being nervous about writing up contracts or getting in on the lending side. But if you've got someone that can speak your language and can guide you through what's going to be the biggest transaction of your life, makes them feel so much more comfortable. So I basically, utilized the fact that I could speak 2 languages. I put it on my email signatures. I put it on all of my business cards. I mean, I advertised that I spoke Spanish. I have another agent now that's with me. She speaks fluent in Spanish, and she does the same thing. She markets herself as a Spanish speaking agent. So speaking a second language is a huge benefit. And I think as a country, we're coming to realize that now, that we do bring something different to the table, and speaking that second language isn't a hindrance or isn't something to be embarrassed about. It is something, like I said earlier, to embrace, to be positive, to help you build your career, because you can speak 2 different languages. Both the jobs that I got in sales, I specifically got because I marketed myself as a Spanish speaking person. And it actually helped me to get that job. So I wouldn't take no for an answer. I take to my agents now when they go out and they work leads, that if somebody says no to you, act like you're giving them a stick of gum. And they all make fun of me about the stick of gum. They're all watching downstairs, so I'm sure they're all laughing at my story. But I always say to people, when you offer somebody a stick of gum and they say no, you don't get offended. You don't get upset. You put your gum back in your purse and you offer your gum to somebody else, because eventually somebody's going to want your piece of gum. So when I would get a no, I didn't think of it as, oh my gosh, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, or I didn't do this. I just thought, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to reevaluate. If I did everything correctly, then I'm just going to say, they just didn't want my piece of gum. It's okay. I'll go to the next person. So I think that, like Christina said, having that confidence and not feeling like your language is a barrier, but more of an asset,
yes,
will really help push people forward.
And I couldn't agree more. And I remember that during one of my sessions, Pat mentioned the Small Business Development Center here in Greenville. During one of my meetings with my consultant, he actually told me that. He said, you need to be promoting your business as a bilingual business, because guess what? You will be trying to reach out people and service people that cannot they don't have anybody else to service them. So you can be that one professional in that one field that can make the difference to that one business. And that's very true. So of course, that, like you said, there are a lot of people here who speak German or French or Spanish or Portuguese. But guess what? What we see here at the Protagonist is that a lot of these countries, a lot of these businesses, they are bringing, people from different countries to work here. And then the man usually is the one who's being transferred here. And then the women, the wives, they're the ones with this barrier who are maybe a lot of them just starting to learn English. But a lot of them, a lot of us, we don't click. That idea of, that's an asset. Speaking a different language is an asset. Christina said that she hired someone 5 years ago who barely spoke English. And when Christina moved here, she didn't speak much English either. But, she had that, if we have that courage to just push forward and say, hey, I am fluent in one language and I'm learning my second one, just give me the chance. And like you said, just have that confidence that you can do it, that you can do a good job, because you know the professional that you are. And I'll tell you something else, all of you who are watching us, I'll tell you this because I'm speaking from experience. You are in this country and you're ready to be hired as an experienced professional. And that makes a lot of difference to a lot of businesses. It's not like you have to just learn everything from scratch. Maybe you have to learn the terminology of the industry from scratch. I have, and I still do. But you already have the work ethic, you have the responsibility, and you have to always tell yourself, hey, I speak 2 languages. And that's no small thing. So always remember that. And when we're thinking about differentiating ourselves, it's always a good thing to think that, I speak 2 languages. Now, Pat, I want to ask you a question again. So when we think about differentiating ourselves, it is a good tip for those who want to be the protagonists of their career. So a lot of women, when they come here because their husbands were transferred here, they take the supporting role in their lives, so they're no longer the protagonist. They are supporting their husbands in their careers, and they take a step back. So in addition to speaking 2 or more languages, because some of these women do, I have a neighbor here. She speaks 5 languages. She's from India. She speaks 5 languages. So volunteering can also contribute and give you a lot of skills. And we always say that for a lot of women, volunteering can be the first door that they open, because they might not have that confidence to apply for a job, but you have to start somewhere. And volunteering is a great way to start. So, Pat, you have an extensive experience with volunteering. So what qualities do you see in volunteering that can also be applied in the corporate environment by successful professional women?
Well, I think at one point I thought I was the ultimate volunteer because all I did was volunteer, but I also wanted to be home and involved with my children at that particular time. But I also learned through that I know that chambers are a great way to network, but I also think volunteering is another great way to network, especially from other countries, because there may be someone that you're volunteering with who is with a company, maybe looking for a person for a certain job, and they see how skillful you are at what you do, that they can come to you and say, I've been watching you and I've watched how you interact with people, because the way you interact with people is everything. I'd like to talk with you about a job. That's one of the ways I think that volunteering, not only does it make you feel really good about yourself, but it is also another way for you to get yourself involved in the community. I think you can even learn more about the community. So when you're ready to go to work, you already know about it. I remember I had applied for a job once, and I mean, I go to this little town to volunteer to talk to them about a job, and the first thing they asked me was, "What do you know about this town?" And I just sat there, and I'm thinking, I didn't come to work for this little town. I came to work for you. But then I realized that you really need to know your community. Yes. Like I know now our community quite well because I've been here forever, but that is very important. So I think anytime you have an opportunity to volunteer, to do anything in your community, and you have the time, you have the passion, I think you should always take advantage of it. You don't ever know who you may run into or someone you may meet that realizes that you are a star and they need you. And that's a great way of doing that.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I think when I think of Brazil and the opportunities that we have there to volunteer compared to here, it's very different. So I think that a lot of women might have the same kind of train of thought that I do, but I've volunteered here in a lot of different organizations. And Pat, what you're saying is absolutely true. I think that here people are watching you. They are becoming aware of who you are, your work ethic, how you interact with people. So I think that volunteering, like you said, it is a great opportunity to network and also to be noticed. And it looks great on your resume. And we have two employers here, and I'm sure that they're going to agree with me that when you have, a section in your resume that says volunteer work, and then you have, a list of work that you've done as a volunteer, it makes you look good because you want to give back. And money is not everything to you, but you're trying to get some experience as well. And I think that, it's just amazing in how many opportunities can start revealing and appearing in front of us when we volunteer. So the time that we're investing here in this roundtable is very valuable. And I'm sure that a lot of the women who are listening to us and watching us, they are, already drinking from everything that you guys are sharing. And I'm so delighted to hear that, your achievements and your thoughts and your walks of lives. And I feel very inspired and encouraged. And as an expat woman myself, I know how painful it can be for us to arrive in a new country and not know the basics about how do I start my career? How do I reboot my career in this country? So I feel, almost 16 years later, I feel empowered to be the protagonist, to finally be at that place where I'm like, okay, I have some answers. And, I'm here. And so I'm feeling like I'm getting my career back on track. It's a lot, and it's emotional, and it's wonderful. Margie, today, more than 40 million people living in the US were born in another country. And I'm one of those 40 million. Why do you think that having an international background can make someone stand out?
So, I had thought a lot about this question because I really wanted to make sure that my answer was complete, I guess is the best word I could find. And it wasn't until I got back from Europe that this answer came to me. So we were in Spain for 16 days. And what I learned there was that people live differently in different countries. We don't, when you only live in the United States, you only know the United States. But when you go and you visit and you immerse yourself, we didn't stay at big hotels. We stayed in Airbnbs. We shopped in grocery stores. We watched how they lived. I lived like they lived for 16 days. I learned that, Spain in itself values time, families, not things, not objects and stuff. And I brought that back, and I'm instilling it in my own life now, that a less is more, spending more time with my family. So for me, what I've learned with international people is that they bring a completely different view to the table than we have had here in the States. We only know when you're applying to the States, most people are from here. They've lived here their whole lives in some way. but being from a different country, you bring different habits, different cultures, different experiences to the table that people here have never had before. And it wasn't until I went over there and I lived it that I realized that some of these things are really good and we don't do them here, and I want to start doing them here. So being an international person, I think, opens and broadens your worldview. It adds to your own personal growth. You start to see yourself as a part of something larger than just where we are right now. You start to see yourself, like I said, more globally, bigger. And, you bring so many different things to the table that we would never know. So, being an international person is, again, another asset, because you're bringing a completely different worldview than most people have here. And people are going to embrace that, because until they see it or hear about it or learn, they don't know what it is. So I think personally, having that international background, you bring different ideas to the table, and you bring different habits, work habits, everything, life habits that other companies can then embrace.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you're saying that, because again, it's something that when we are outside the US and we move here, we don't think about that. We don't think about, how can I contribute? Do I have anything to add to, and bring to the table? Because we don't. And I can speak personally, from Brazil. We look at the US and we see like it's the most powerful country in the world. And then you get here and you look to the side and you think, I don't have anything to give. They have everything. They have it figured it out. And now I have to insert myself and just be quiet and learn from them. But something that I've learned too is that, no, like you said, we bring a different and a fresh perspective. And that would happen to anybody in any country, because it is a different perspective. But guess what? Our world is a globalized world. So it's going to be very hard for us to nowadays work for a business that doesn't have like a global vision, that doesn't have this mindset that, my customer, I can get people from all walks of life, all kinds of country walking through my door. And so you have to be prepared to better serve your customer, your client. So if that employer, if that business realizes that, if I have diversity in the body of, my employee, among my employers, that's an asset. That is setting me apart. I remember, Margie, while you were talking about Spain, and I've been to Spain too, I loved that siesta. It's like, oh my goodness, take me there. I want to live here because I want to take a nap after lunch. So I think that it's just amazing to see really how people live and how they interact with each other. And while you were talking, I was thinking about when I was in grad school. And for those of you watching, I am a graphic designer. And we had this competition among the grad students because we needed to create the first branding system for the School of Art. So, I got my camera, took the photos. I wanted to incorporate my own photos and my own design. So I did that and put together the mailer with postcards and all of that. And then the faculty had to vote on which branding system they liked the most. And I kept hearing people telling me, I love what you did. And I would ask them why, what did you like about it? And they said, your use of color is so fresh and so unique. You're not afraid to use color. And it's something that I've never thought about. But yes, I'm from Brazil, so color is a lot for me. It's part of my life. It's the beauty of nature. It's the birds and the carnival. So, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not afraid to use color. I'm not afraid to wear color. So it's very interesting how something fresh, like visually, like a new idea, it can really make and be beneficial for a business. So I really love what you said. I want to go back to Christina. I do know a little bit about your story, and that last time that you told me a little bit more about you, I was in tears because it's such an amazing story of such strength. And you are, like me, one of those 40 million immigrants now in this country living here in America. But you never gave up. You always pushed yourself. And I just wanted to tell you all that Christina told me that story, that when she started in sales with State Farm, she thought, okay, where am I going to find the clients? She asked her boss, and her boss gave her the phone book. She said, start here. And she started calling people. Now that's resilience. So what do you do, Christina? Because if somebody put me the phone book in my hands and say, start here, I would go like, oh, really? Seriously? I need to start here? So how do you do? Like, you put that smile in your face, you take a deep breath, and you go. So what advice would you give women watching us today to have that same attitude, like, can do, I'm going to stay positive, and I'm going to do it? What advice would you give women?
Yes, Clarissa, that's very, very important. I think it's about how bad you want it, something. Somebody told me a story many years ago of a great coach of a business, that he was the best one, and this business owner was not doing good. So he was trying to get this coach, and he took him in the freezing water. I think I told you the story. And he said, well, I want to interview you as my client first to see how much you want success. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go and swim in that cold water in the middle of the winter on the ocean for a few minutes. And this business owner was like, no. You are confused. I don't want a swimming lesson here. I want a business coach. And he said, yeah, first thing, you're going to do what I tell you to do. Because if I'm going to make you better, you need to follow me. So if you can give me a few minutes and go and swim there. And he was like, but man, you're crazy. But finally he did it, and he went, and he was freezing, and he was struggling, and he was blue, and he could barely make it to the shore back. And every stroke was almost killing him, and he barely made it back to the shore in that freezing water. And the coach said, when you want success, as you want to breathe in that freezing ocean, is the day that you're going to have it. When you are in the willing to whatever it takes to do it, you will get it. So I went through many challenges when I started to work for the first agent. I couldn't speak English. I had a week to pass the license test in English for insurance. I don't know what means dwelling. I don't have no vocabulary in English, but I wanted the job. So I memorized the book in 4 days, and I passed that test the first time. So that's the standards that you put to yourself. Yes. When he gave me that phone book, I had a choice. Do I walk away and I get me a comfortable job that nobody's asking me to do anything? Or I call the letter A and get the job done. So, or when I have to pass my security test, I was becoming manager of his office. I have to pass the security test. My mother was with cancer. My father was dying. I was flying to Bolivia to the funeral. I had a week to take that test. And I was studying in the airplane. And every page of that book had my tears, because my heart was broke in pieces, because my mother is dying, my father is dying, and I had 5 days to pass this test. But I had the decision how bad I wanted to do it. And the lady next to me, she looked at me, she knew the whole story I told her in the airplane, and she said, Christina, stop studying. And I never will forget, I looked at her and I said, I can't, because I want this so bad. And my parents will never be proud that a problem with them and a sickness or a dying will default in losing something for me. So I own them this. I cannot do this. And I came back from the funeral and I took the test and I passed that test. So push yourself to that limit. Take a big breath, make a decision, and be very focused, because everybody has circumstances, everybody has people sick around, everybody will have things that will happen in your life that will prevent for you to be successful. But you need to learn to put all these things aside. Cry, grieve, but keep moving, because that it will define the success.
Wow. Yeah, that's great, Christina. It really is a question to yourself. Do you want to stay comfortable, or do you want to succeed? Because a lot of times those things, they don't go together. And so you really need to ask yourself. It's really, really true. I do have a question for 3 questions that I would like to ask all of you. And it has to do with things that we've heard other people say, and I've said it myself. And I want to, pick your brain and know your answer to these questions and hear from you. One of our protagonists, she shared, "I feel people look at me funny because of my accent." Now, do you think that companies would not hire someone because they have a thick accent or an accent? And I'd like to open to all of you. Margie, you can go first. Do you think that it would deter someone from hiring? Oh, hang on. There you go.
No. And when I moved here to Greenville, so I had lived in Florida and then I lived in New York and I moved to Greenville, I had a really hard time understanding people here because their Southern accents are very, very thick, like very thick. And when I was, especially if I was helping someone who was even from like a more rural area in Greenville, it was even worse. Like I really had to like focus and think and listen really carefully. Like Christina was saying, you have to kind of like really look and listen and understand. And they have accents. I think people have accents everywhere you go. They're just different. There's New York accents, there's Southern accents, there's Wisconsin accents. So no, this country again is such a melting pot that having an accent is not, to me, I don't think anything less of it. And maybe it's because I'm Spanish. But I just don't. I feel like people have accents everywhere we go. Like whether it's, like I said, a Southern accent. I have friends. One of my agents is from Staten Island. She kind of grew up in North Carolina, but she still has that Staten Island accent. And it's different. It's different than people talk here. So no, I don't see it as a negative. I think that people have accents everywhere, and I think it's almost like a beautiful chorus when you have people with all different accents, different what I would call flavor. It's beautiful to me. So no, I would never, ever, there are American accents, there's Latin accents, there's, all kinds of accents, English accents. So no, I personally think that, because again, like I said, we're just so diverse here that there's accents all over the United States. So don't ever look at it as a positive. It's a plus. It shows that you can speak 2 languages. So
wonderful. Pat, what do you think about it? You deal with a lot of businesses. What do you think?
I don't think it's a problem. And the reason I think that is I do think we are very diverse. I think we're in a very diverse area. I'm from Tennessee. And I will tell you, if you go to Tennessee, you're going to find 3 different accents from West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and East Tennessee. They're so totally different. It is unbelievable. So I think that when you live in a town where it is a very diverse town, and believe me, Greenville really is, I think when you hear a different accent, I love it because first of all, they don't usually understand me either. So, so I find it interesting, and I don't think it should ever determine whether a person gets a job or whatever. I think we're all very open to that nowadays. I think people from other countries bring a lot of flair to anything. I don't care whether it's a job, where it's associating with the other people. I just think that there's always something to learn every day from someone. And so I find I like meeting Christine and Clarissa, I have learned more about their country that I would have never known, only because that's who we are. We accept diversity, which I think is vital.
Wonderful. How about you, Christina?
Only because that's who we are. We accept
We're having a little bit of delay with Christina.
Yeah, well, I use really, I think, in my favor a lot of times. And one of the questions on the interview for the second agency from my VPA was like, how are you going to differentiate you from another state farm agent? I said, well, I have to work hard on that. People will remember me all the time. I said, and they were laughing. And she said to me, that's wonderful that you take it that way. So I think being proud who you are. And like Margie said, and Pat said, we all have accents, we have from different backgrounds, and use that sometimes in your favor because people will remember you. You are the lady with the thick accent. Where are you from? And it's very intriguing, So I told my VPS, done, that's checked. Everybody remembers me. I'm from Bolivia, the only Bolivian in South Carolina with the accent agent. So no worries about that. I got that part.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Christina, I have to say that I feel the same because, when I first moved to South Carolina, I thought, what other universities have a Brazilian professor, teaching graphic design? I don't think there is another one. So, people will know me. And that brings me to my other question. Have you ever had a funny situation because you were, born in another country? I know that I have. I have two things that happened to me, and I'm going to let Christina answer that question. And Pat and Margie, if you have had any stories you can share as well. But I remember that when I first moved here, and I worked for Anderson University. I taught design there for 6 years. They needed to make a little sign to put outside my door. And at the time, I wasn't Clarissa Gainey because I wasn't married. I was Clarissa Brandão with a tilde on top of the last A. So they contacted me and they called me. And they said, anything, do I need to know anything about your name? I'm about to make, the little sign for your door. And I said, yeah, there is a tilde on the last A for Brandão. He said, okay. So the next week I arrived and I saw the sign at my door, and they put the tilde on top of Clarissa. So in Portuguese, you would read Clarissa Brandão. It's like, no, that's not my name. So I called him. It's like, no, that's not the right A. That's the other A. So he had the sign remade, and it was funny, but we laughed so much at the department because it was so unusual. And something else that I used to do too, when I worked at Georgia, I taught at the University of Georgia for a while. And I was much younger back then, but I like to play the international student card. So first day of class, I would just sit in one of the chairs with the other students before the class started. And all the students would arrive and sit and wait for the professor, and the professor would never come. And I was just playing the international student card. And then after a few minutes, I would stand up and introduce myself as the professor, and they would be like, what? Because they were not expecting a Latin woman to be their professor, their graphic design professor. And I was like, yeah, that's funny. Take it. I'm your professor. You have to accept that. So, Christina, did you have any funny stories that happened to you?
Yeah, Clarissa. So I have a ton of those stories, not only my life here in the United States, but my life 7 years in Japan, can you imagine? So one of the funny things that I did as a foreign, I think when I started to work with State Farm, everybody lived in the office for a few days of vacation. I was working, I was trying to get everything done. I got a call from a State Farm after a few days saying, Mrs. Ortiz, all your customers are French speakers? I said, no. Why? And she said, every document that you sent us so far is printed in French. So what's going on here? So not only mistakes happens in verbal mistakes, but in written. I didn't even, think I changed the language in my computer. I was printing everything in French. So I have to call every customer and have them to come back and sign again the documents. Or I will say things in the office with my accent and trying to learn English. For example, I'm going to the gynecologist. Everybody was laughing, and everybody was like laughing for me for a year for saying that. So, but you ladies, I'm gonna give you one advice. Don't take it personal. If somebody makes a joke of your accent, if you say something incorrect and people laugh, don't take that as an offense, because we are the ones coming to this country. We have to earn that. We have to earn the respect. And also, I know we're bringing a lot of our cultures, like Clarissa was saying, from different countries. But you need to learn also to be respectful, because you love the United States and you're coming because what it is. So we want to keep it a great nation, right? So come here, bring your culture, but also be very respectful to what is already here. And I think that's up to us to earn that respect every day. And don't take an offense if somebody laughs or you make something funny, because it is funny. I think sometimes about Spanish, if somebody's trying to talk in Spanish and they the wrong words, we will laugh. So don't take it that personally as an offense. This is a wonderful country, and we need to learn also the culture that's here, be respectful to that, because with that, we will show that we're good citizens and putting back in that community and being respectful of what is the culture and the language here. I think is very, very important. But I did a lot of mistakes in English at the beginning, and probably I still do it. State Farm asked me to do a video that they do use now in a national video to recruit new agents. And I was like, are you sure? With my accent, you want me to do the video? And they told me, yes, I have to learn how to say the word entrepreneur like 20 times before I get in the video, because I could say it correctly. So don't be afraid to have an accent, ladies. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, and you said something very powerful too, Christina. We just need to learn to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously also. I remember that once I was teaching a class and I was talking about different file types. And I said, this file is edible, when I meant to say editable. It's like, you can eat this file. That's what I was telling my students. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you cannot eat this file. You can edit this file. So you just need to, to live your life with that kind of, joy, because you know what? You're learning the language. And I've always looked at myself since I moved here like I'm a child. I'm learning a language, so I am going to say funny things. And I hear my 6-year-old son saying things to me, and sometimes like, you're so cute, because, and I'm thinking, that's not how you say it, but it's cute. So that was the kind of grace that I, try to use with myself too, because we are going to make mistakes. But guess what? I've also read a study that said that people who move to other countries, they are risk takers. So you have to embrace that as something that you have that is a great quality in a professional, because you are taking a risk, you're pushing yourself to be more. And, it's like we said here, you're not staying in your comfort zone. So, and on top of that, I think that when we have a cultural background, a different cultural background, because we grew up in a different country, we can bring different things. And, your brain is working extra hard on that language part. And if you are looking for a job, if you are already working somewhere, you know that you're working extra hard to process everything correctly, to do everything correctly. So it's a lot. So give yourself a little break and, laugh at yourself when you need to laugh at yourself and move on. Now, this is a question for all of you. How do you think that this cultural diversity that we bring, that someone who was not born here brings to the table, how do you think that is a good thing for an employer in the workforce? And we can start with Pat.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear your question.
Okay. So how do you think that having the different cultural background, how do you think that can be a strength as an employee at a company?
Think about that one. First of all, I think when a company has people from all over the place, I think that it shows a lot of diversity and strength in the company. I think that it also shows that they believe in bringing people from other countries into their business, and they got to have that belief factor of saying you are going to come into my company and you're going to make me have a great company because I have so much diversity here. And I think too, even here sometimes we have someone that comes in that may speak another language, and we don't have anyone here that can translate or understand what they're saying, especially if they don't speak English. So I think when a company takes that step to hire someone from another country, I think that's just to make them a stronger company, and they're going to be there to help, I think, other people. Keep bringing in other people from other countries. It just makes us stronger. And I think we learn so much from each other. I think our cultures are so different in some ways. Some ways we're so much alike. But I think it is also a great learning opportunity for all employees, and how we treat each other.
Yeah, I agree. Margie, what do you think? Oh, hang on. We need to unmute. There we go. Sorry.
No, you're good. I agree with Pat. We love cultural diversity here. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about. We have people from all different walks of life, and real estate is very interesting. A lot of times you'll look at companies and there's, very little diversity in some of the larger brokerages, and I'm not sure why that is. So that was one of the things that was really important to me in hiring, is that I wanted people from all different walks of life, different areas, different states. And for us, it actually helps our company be stronger and better, because we have a lot of people that are moving into Greenville and they're not from here. We read a report, and I want to say, I think on average, there's about 23 people a day moving into Greenville County, 23 people a day, and they're not from here. So that means that they're coming from other states. So when I hire people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different places, it helps them be able to create a relationship with these people. So if someone's moving here from like New York, I have an agent that used to live in New York. She connects with them right away, because they feel like, oh, she's one of us. She can help us because she understands what we're doing. She's been through that process. She knows what that looks like. And so immediately people gravitate towards familiarity. So especially in real estate, I feel like having a diverse group of agents and staff, which we have both of, really helps to make our company stronger and better, because somebody will always be able to relate to somebody within my company.
Yes, that's beautiful, and that's very true. How about you, Christina? How do you think that this cultural diversity can help a business?
Yes, for me, Clarice, I think diversity, foreigners, cultures bring so much, not only to the customers, like Margie said, because that's true. We're dealing with so many cultures now that it helps so much the business to have a different mix of cultures in the offices. But I think it also helps us as a personal development, in our professional life, in our personal life. When you integrate people from different nationalities in one office, in the diversity, there's so much learning from each other, not only in the food. I never had a Colombian food. Now I love it, or for example, we share different things, how we do different things in different countries, and we cook together and we learn each other, how that was approached in your country. So we talk all the time about these things, and we are becoming one new culture. For example, in my office, I bring all these people from another countries to be part of my office, but we have our own culture. So we are one in a way, we're different in other ways, and we learn from each other every day. Yeah. And that's amazed me. And having that open mind to sit down with a lady that from the other world, of this side of the world, but she can make you a better professional, because she might have a better way to do it, or it will see in a different perspective. We people that come from another countries, we're very grateful for things. So that, for example, we bring in the table because we appreciate we live in the countries that they didn't have what we have here. So that helps another people to have another different perspective of life, you know, or we help them to have more flavors and more colors and different things. So I think not only as a business, but as a personal life, having people that you share your time from a different cultures, you learn a lot, like Pat said. We have learned a lot from each other every day.
Yes.
And I love that because I can teach something that also I can learn different things.
Yeah, and that's very true. It's like you said, we're building a new culture almost, and new office cultures, and a better society that is more inclusive, that is more diverse, and we see more and more that we live in a world with no borders, because even with the pandemic, people are working remotely more than ever before. And I can be here, and we have people from our Bossa creative team that are in Brazil, because they're such amazing professionals. So we are expanding, and we have that opportunity to build something different, to build something new. Being inclusive and being diverse, I think it's just an amazing thing. And I'm glad to hear that more businesses here in this country, and that are businesses in this country that are so diverse, that are so for they hire foreigners, and I'm a result of that. And I'm so thankful, like you said, Christina. I think that we are very thankful for the opportunity, because we understand this country is the most powerful country in the world. And I feel very humble every time, that I went to a job interview and I got hired, like, wow. And, so we have to have that confidence, like we said in the beginning, to just power through, leave our comfort zone, and just go, I can do it, and be grateful for the opportunity that we were giving. And I think that all of this, hearing all of you here, for me, is a milestone. For me, something that I'm never going to forget. I think we're having such for me, it's just a precious time to be listening to you and hearing your thoughts about these, all of these topics. And I know that a lot of women needed to hear what you all are saying here today. I think that, I'm very happy that we're doing this. But it's like we say, there is a time for everything. So we need to kind of wrap up our roundtable in a little bit. But before we move on to our question and answer moment, and if you are watching us, go ahead and type in your questions in the comments there on YouTube. And go ahead and ask them questions. We're going to move on to what we want to call the pro tip. And I like, I gave it this name because I wanted to say like the professional tip, but also the protagonist tip, because I see all three of you as the protagonists of your careers. And speaking of which, if you're watching us, go ahead and follow the Protagonist Experience on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Follow us. So we would like to ask you to give a tip to help these women who want to start their career in the US. So what would be that one thing that you could tell women, this? For me, it would be, I would start saying what Mark Twain said, that without knowing that it was impossible, he did it. And I think of that often. I am a dreamer, I try to keep my feet on the ground. My husband tries to pull me down, and he's right, because my mind just goes to places, and I dream big. But I think that we need to believe that what we want, we can achieve. And you might not have that outcome, that final result, exactly as you thought it was going to be. But if you know that you're doing everything that you're doing to do something for yourself professionally, to be the protagonist of your career, you are going to get somewhere. This is my advice. Christina, what would you like to tell women?
Yeah, I think, Clarissa, for me, the one advice is say, don't ever, ever, ever give up to your dreams and be bold. Don't ever give up, because you never know. It might be in the next corner that you don't see because you're running straight. But in the next corner is your successful job, is your success career. So those few more steps that you can make it happen to the next corner, it might be the one that defining your success. So don't ever give up. It might take your lifetime, it might take 5 years, 10 years. Don't ever give up to your dreams and be bold on that. You own that. You deserve that.
That's great. That's true. Margie, what would you say?
So I always teach and train my agents, because a lot of times I get brand new agents. They've never sold real estate a day in their life. They're coming from a completely different walk of life. And I think this would translate the same way, is you have to speak your reality. You have to not only move in the direction of what you want, but you have to see it and believe that it is accomplishable and that you can do it. I think too many times we set ourselves up before we even start, going, this is going to be too hard. I don't know that I can do this. This seems overwhelming to me. I'm too nervous. I don't think I can do it. And that talk, when you put that talk in your brain and you put it out there, that's what you're sending out into the universe. And so what you want to do is you need to change the way you think. You need to change how you see yourself and what is possible. Like Christina says, don't give up. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. If a girl who was raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs, to make ends meet, and didn't have any money, I don't have a college degree, I didn't have any of that, can rise to the point where she owns her own building, she runs a successful company, she has 30 agents, employees, marketing department. If I can do it, then anybody can do it. But you have to believe that you can do it, and you have to see yourself doing it. And when you put that out, that's what you're going to get back. So you have to really embrace that and own that and move in that direction.
That's great. That's wonderful. Wonderful advice, Margie. How about you, Pat?
I was going to say never give up, because I know of a basketball coach who said that once as he was battling cancer. And even though it was near the end of his days, he never gave up. And that has stayed with me all these years. It doesn't matter what you want to do in your life. Don't ever give up. And, in my life, God has put me in some amazing places, which I would stomp and say like a little child, I'm not going there. I can't do this. I can't do that. But there are times in our life we have to give in and say, it doesn't matter where I live or what I do, I'm going to make the most of it. And I do know that somewhere in this road or where as I'm traveling, I'm going to find the spot for me, and I will never give up. I mean, having this job, you don't even have time for me to tell you about, but it has been one of those roads to where I didn't even want to be here. And once I did get here, I was like, I'm going to get me a job. I never knew where it was going to lead. So you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself and in others. But again, don't ever give up, because you can make your dreams come true.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, and it's very important that, we just look at ourselves and remember who we are and remember what we want, and the kind of lives that we want to live for ourselves. Because it's like Christina said, we always have the choice. We can choose to be the supporting role, and that's okay. That's nothing wrong with that. But if you know that you were born to be the protagonist, if you know that that's what makes you happy, you have to go for it. You have to pay the price, because there is a price that you will need to pay. Yes, and you have to just go for it. Yeah. So, and that's very true. That's very true. Now, ladies, I would like to put you, I would like to pause here for a little bit. We're going to invite Greenville Tech for a quick info session, and then we're going to go back to the question and answer session. Okay? So those of you watching us, we're going to watch Greenville Tech right now. And Jennifer Moorfield, she's going to join us briefly. And she will be talking about scholarship opportunities, the programs that they have. And I have to say this, Jennifer is taking time off from her vacation. So that's why she's in that beautiful lodge there. And she's going to be talking to us about the amazing work that Greenville Tech is doing that can change your lives forever, ladies. So Jennifer, the word is with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Clarissa. It's my honor and pleasure to be with you all this morning, particularly on International Women's Day. One thing that I've heard throughout your conversation is just the importance of support and relationships and lifting one another up and having faith and confidence in all that we do. So very grateful to be here with you today, broadcasting from a very snowy Jackson Hole, Wyoming in this beautiful lodge. So just to build on what you all have said about community, at Greenville Technical College, we are very proud to be in the community in Greenville County. We have 5 different locations across the county that allow us to serve the various populations across the county. We serve roughly 9,600 students a year in continuing education, and most of those students participate in what I'd like to refer to as quick job programs. These are programs that you can attend and get a skill or a trade or certificate in 90 days or less. And so as we think about your organization here and expats being in the Greenville County area, I know many times it's a challenge for you to transfer your credentials or your licensures from other countries. And what we like to do is work with you on a one-on-one case management approach to help understand your career goals, your objectives, and then we can actually fund you in a number of these certificate programs. So one example I just will share briefly is if you're interested in the medical profession, you've served in the medical profession around the world or in any other countries, you can come to us and we have a number of programs that would get you credentialed and certified so that you could start working again in that field of your preference and field of interest. As I mentioned, most of these programs are funded. Each year we get roughly $2.5 million from the state of South Carolina to pay for individuals to take these programs. And we're able to award up to $4,000 per student per program, and there's just 3 major requirements in order to be eligible. 1, you need to pass a drug test. 2, have a valid South Carolina driver's license. And number 3, attend an information session for the program that you're interested in. So our funding cycle runs July 1st through June 30th. So we're now moving into our end of spring, beginning of summer. We do have some funding available for programs, but as I mentioned, July 1, we'll have a whole new pot of funds that we can allocate. And all of this information is on our website at gvltec.edu. Clarissa, any questions?
Well, when can I start? Because I've looked at those programs and you have some amazing programs that I can see how women who are already experiencing a certain industry, that they, like you said, they can still be in the same industry that they used to work in, and get their feet, get started in 90 days. So, and go from there. I think that it's a wonderful door for a lot of these women, especially if you have scholarship opportunities available. So, if someone watching us want to apply for those courses, all they need to do is go to the website. And they can find all the information there, Jennifer?
Yes, that's correct. And please know, unlike the academic calendar, in continuing ed, we run programs continuously through the year. So we have a number of programs starting middle of March. We'll have more starting in May and then throughout the summer. So yes, the website is the easiest way to find us, and we are under economic development and corporate training.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, to show that spark of hope to a lot of women. I wish I had known about the Greenville Tech's courses when I first moved here. There are a lot of other courses, right, that Greenville Tech offers to people. They are not necessarily certificate programs, but they are useful, very, very useful for those wanting to start a career here. And what you said is so nice, that you offer that one-on-one guidance. And it's not you trying to understand things looking at a computer screen. You can actually schedule an appointment and sit down with someone, a real person, and answer questions and know where you can go. Right? So that's great.
Absolutely. And Clarissa, let me just say, we are always looking for adjunct instructors in the continuing education division. There are a lot of very smart, talented subject matter experts on this call, and I would welcome conversations and exploring opportunities to have you all share your gifts and talents with Greenville Tech and the Greenville Tech community.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jennifer, again, for your time, for your expertise, and for just letting us know about the wonderful opportunities that our listeners and people who are watching can take advantage of at Greenville Tech. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care, Clarissa. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye, Jennifer. All righty. So I hope that was helpful for you, because I'll tell you, that was very exciting for me when I first heard about those quick job programs at Greenville Tech, just to know that you can start a career in 90 days. You can have something on your resume in 3 months and say, I took this course at Greenville Tech, and I know that they do an amazing job as well, following up, helping you through their career center. So it's definitely worth it for you to check them out, to see their programs, and to get acquainted with what you can do to go back to being the protagonist of your career in 3 months or less. So go ahead and check Greenville Tech, their website and their programs, and reach out to them if you have any questions. So I'd like to bring back our speakers so we can have some Q&A with them. Let's see where Margie and Pat, let's see. They're probably coming back in a little bit. Okay, so I think that we're having a little bit of a technical issue here. Christina, we have a question for you. Abby, we have a question for you here. What inspired you to go from an agent to owning your own agency? And that's a question for actually both Christina, who is in insurance, and for Margie, who is in real estate. What inspired you to go from an agent to owning your own agency? So we can start with Christina.
Well, Clarissa, this is a big question, because that's a big step, that is getting out of your comforting zone. So I was working for this agent. I became his manager. So I was very happy there, making good money as a manager. And but I love what I do. And I think when you love and you find that one thing that you really truly love to do, sometimes you don't see yourself being a business owner, but the company will see that potential in you and they will ask. And that's what happened. I was working for this agent, becoming the manager for there. I thought that everybody was working like I was working in the whole nation. Well, it wasn't. So the company asked me to become an agent. They came to me because of the job that I did for so many years, that they told me, Christina, we cannot allow not to have you as an agent because you love this. You love this community, you love this job, you have proven with your job what you did. So sometimes, it doesn't take you to do it, but it takes the work that you do to take you there. And you have to trust that there is people looking, and there's someone there in those corporations or these jobs or this franchise or whatever you're working, that if you are with the right company, they want you. They want you, and they're going to move everything to that happen. And that happened to State Farm. They asked me, and they did everything, and they built the confidence in me to make that possible. I had a lot of that at the beginning because it was not easy. It was a hard time in my life with 2 little kids. My husband was in North Carolina. My mother dying here with me. But I needed one company to tell me, we believe in you and you can do this and we will support you. So always get with the right people, because that's important. If you're going to own your business or your franchise or whatever, make sure you partner with the right company, because that company will support you to make you success. And take the faith, take the little jump, take the risk, because the other side is wonderful. I will never not be a business owner again. I love it.
Take the risk. Wonderful. How about you, Margie? What made you make that change?
So I worked at 2 different real estate companies, larger brokerages that were global, all over the world. And what I saw is that in both of those companies, they lacked mentorship and coaching. So I saw a lot of really, really good agents kind of get out of real estate because nobody was really helping them or mentoring them to help them become successful. Real estate is very complex. You've got contracts, you've got negotiations, you're a therapist, you're a counselor, you're all these different things. And it's very overwhelming, because all you have to do is go to school for a week and a half. They hand you the license and then they say, good luck. Well, that's very overwhelming if you don't have a company that's pouring into you, that is coaching you and training you and nurturing you, that they just kind of let you go. And it was really sad to me to see so many people with such amazing potential. Like, I knew they would be great at what they did if somebody would just pour into them. But real estate isn't like that. Everybody's trying to get their own business. Everybody's trying to, be the best, be the number one. And we wanted to create a company with a completely different culture. We wanted to create a company where we all were a team. We all work together. We all build each other up. We all support each other. There is no, this is the number one agent, they're the top producer. We are all together as a collective doing what is in the best interest of all of us as a company. And that culture doesn't really exist in real estate. Real estate is it can be very cutthroat. It can be, they're going to do whatever they need to do to get that listing or work with that buyer. And so we wanted to create something different. We wanted to create a company that not only coached, mentored, and trained the agents to make them be the very best that they could possibly be, but we also wanted to create a company where everyone is valued, everyone is treated equally, everybody is important. And you don't really see that in a lot of these other real estate companies. And so the drive for me to go from an agent to an owner was difficult, because I completely came out of sales to coach and train and mentor and hire and recruit all these agents, which took me completely out of sales. Well, my husband runs commercial, and so we're both commissioned partners in our marriage. And so for me to lose my entire salary that I was making, and at the time I was a top producer, was really a scary thing. But like I said, sometimes you just have to step out on faith and see yourself doing what it is that you want to do and create something that's going to eventually be bigger than just me. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to create something that wasn't just about me being the best and me being number one. I wanted to create something that changed people's lives for the better.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful thing, how you wanted to literally just be a part of the change. So being an owner, and I think that that's true with Christine as well, and with Pat, it just gave you more freedom to help people in a more active way, right? So Pat, this question is for you. Have you noticed an increase in the number of international people owning businesses or being in like C-level positions since you've started as a CEO?
A lot. And I see a lot of people, especially with restaurants and things, but I'm also starting to see women open up real estate agents. I have seen women in insurance, but I've seen women do various types of jobs and owning their own business. So, owning your own business can mean a lot of different things. And I have seen that women who have joined our chamber, because I always have to push the chamber, I think they have found their way. Because, we have a lady that's from Colombia who is very successful in the insurance business. And you all know Shirley. And she's been very successful. And I think her being here with Juan is from another country, but I know that they have done well. And so what I do is when people come in, it's like right now we have a person down the street owns a pizza place. I know, and it's not a female, but he struggles. So my husband's gone down and get pizza now because he wants to make sure that he helps him. So I think when you're with a chamber, you're going to have it in your heart that you're going to help everyone. Everyone's not going to be a big success, but you're going to do everything you can to try to make it happen. So,
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
So, and I worry about me. My husband tells me to quit worrying about people, but I do worry about people. I worry about people that go into business, or I see them doing things that I think are not the right things to be doing. I'm not an expert, but I do see things that they do, and I'm thinking, oh, I just wish I could help you. But people have to ask for help. That's one of the things we talked about. You have to ask for help. So.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that brings me. Oh, sorry.
When I started with my job, I know it's hard to believe, I interviewed for this job after they called me. Then once they called me back, they said, well, we would like to have you for this job, but we don't want to give you the position as CEO. We're just going to give you a position as membership. And I can't believe me. I sat there and I said, I don't want to do that. So if you can't give me the CEO or the president's job, I don't want to go to work for you. Because I think I have a lot to offer. And when they hung up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just said that.
I'm bold.
I did not know I had that in me. But they did call me back and they did offer me the job and the job I wanted. And I think it's been fun. So
yeah, and you've been wonderful. You've been wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have one more question for Christina. How was it to support your family, so to help your family when you first got here and you also did not know what to do? So how was it? For your family, so to help your family when you first got here and you also did not know what to do. So how was it?
Clarissa, it was very hard because I did work in insurance in my country. I was the claims manager for a big company, but moving to this area with no job, with a completely unknown, it was very hard. It was very, very hard. It was one of the hardest things that I've done in my life because it's not only for me. I knew how much I can take and I knew how much I can handle. But this time it was only all my family. It was my two little kids, my husband, my mother. So it was very hard. It was many days that I will come home and my family was packing, ready to go home. They were like, that's it. We try it. 90 days. We're suffering too much. Let's go back. But, I was so determined. I bought one-way tickets. And sometimes you have to hold on that. And you have to be very tied to that seat because you have all these husband and kids and crying and everybody's crying around you. And you have second thoughts. Maybe this is not the right thing. But you have to hold tight and say, let's do one more week. Let's do one more day, one more time. And that's how I did it. It was very hard. It was a lot of tears the first few months because we came from a country that we had a lot of family, good jobs, good house, and we came with 8 bags, no money, no English, and we have to learn everything quick because we have little kids. So I started to work in 2 weeks. I arrived to this country in a bank. I don't know how they hire me. I will maybe not hire myself, but I had, like Margie said, a lot of faith, and I can envision me doing something good for this community. I was not asking for money or success or fame or any of that, but I wanted the financial security for my family. I wanted a great place to live for my family. So I think when you tell God the right reasons and the purpose that you have in your mind, and you have clarity, and you have a strength to hold, things will happen. So it is hard. It's not easy, but you just need to be brave, and go through the things that you have to do to have to happen. So find that courage for every day.
Yeah, that's wonderful advice. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Now I have the last question, and that's for Margie and for Pat. I'm going to let Margie answer first. Do you think that age is an issue here? Because, and that's a great question, because in Brazil, for example, if you're 40 or 35, for some jobs, it's hard for you to find and get a job. So do you think that age is an issue here in the US, Margie?
No, I don't. So I basically reinvented myself at 42, and I had started in real estate, and I wasn't from Greenville. I'd only been here a year, and I basically, again, stepped out on faith and thought, I'm just going to try it. I know I don't know anybody here. I know I don't have, people that I can go and say, hey, let me help you sell your house, because I didn't know anybody. But I put my head down. I worked really, really hard. I was the first one in the office. I was the last one to leave. I was almost calling a phone book. They gave us a stack of leads of people that, had somewhere, sometime, maybe made an interest. And I just called all these numbers, dialing through. And so I don't think so. I think that you can be really, really young, but you can also be older and, restart your career and reinvent yourself completely into a completely different career path. So I have a background as, preschool education, and that's what I did since 1994, 93. I turned 50 in January, so there's that. But you can reinvent yourself at any point. So no, I don't think age is a factor here. Actually, 2 of our admin that we have hired were in their late 60s. 65. Dave, Dave was older, and we hired Bill, and they were both older, retired, had finished their careers. One was a director, one was an accountant, and we hired them in their late 60s to work for us. So no, age isn't. You just got to want it.
Yeah, want it and have the experience too, and and what it takes.
Yeah.
Pat, what do you think? Thank you, Margie. What do you think? Oh, let's unmute Pat.
I think there are, for some people, ages mean something. I think as long as you love what you do, you're good at what you do, and you treat people with respect, no matter how old you are. I think age means nothing. Now, there are some people who might disagree with that, and that's their privilege to do so. But I do feel that since I'm older, I say that even to my own children, who always say, don't ever let age stand in your way of being what you want to be. And so I think that is true.
That's wonderful.
So I think as long as you have the energy and you're healthy. I mean, I heard this minister on TV the other day that really kind of got my attention. He said, where in the Bible does it say that you have to retire? I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's not in the Bible.
And it's not in the Bible. That's right. So that just right there just stuck with me. So.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this country has a lot of wonderful things to offer, a lot of opportunities. And if you're watching us, ladies, just feel encouraged, feel empowered. It doesn't matter how old you are. Margie used an expression, a word that I really love. I reinvented myself. And I think that it's really up to us to reinvent ourselves every single day. And if you really are passionate about what you do for a living or what you used to do for a living, go for it. At the Protagonist Experience, we always say that P is for passion, P is for purpose, P is for professional, and P is for protagonist. So it's really up to you to really want to take that first step. So I would love to thank all three of you, Christine Ortiz, Pat Pomeroy, and Margie Lewis, for taking the time to being here with us and sharing and just pouring over us your kindness, your resilience, your strength, your power, your experience. And thank you so much for your participation this day on International Women's Day. I hope that all of you watching us feel as amazed as I am right now at the lives and experiences of these three amazing ladies. And so thank you so much for your participation. We're going to move on to our next part, and we're going to have an info session with Upstate International. And we're gonna call here to screen Tracy Fries from Upstate International. She is the executive director at Upstate International, and she's going to be talking to us about the programs, the events that they offer, and how you can be community, how you can find that sense of belonging through Upstate International. So thank you all three of you, for everything, and we'll talk to you very soon. Ciao, ciao. And we'd like to call Tracy to the stage. There she is. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Clarissa. That was fabulous. I have to tell you, hearing those ladies talk about their hearts and what has driven them to the success they've had these days is amazing. And in part, I think it makes me think about the ways that Upstate International has that same passion and that same drive to connect people together and to really help them find their purpose. Just telling you guys, I'm gonna tap my glasses. I see a little glare there going. Just telling you guys a little bit about Upstate International and where we came from. We're almost 25 years old, so we've been around for a while. And originally, we were founded specifically as a way to help incoming international residents and families and workers who were moving here with the large influx of international business. And several community members saw that the incoming international families were having a difficult time becoming a part of the community. So we were started as a means to help them really feel at home, to become an integral part of what makes this region so special. So down the road, we started adding language classes, not only English to help those international residents, but the many different languages that they could share with other people. We started adding cultural opportunities. Upstate International Month was born which is going on right now, guys.
Yes.
10 years. 10 years of International Month, all about celebrating the diversity across our region. And from there, we continued to grow with our big salsa at sunset dance nights down on Main Street, and add in more opportunities for awareness about working across cultures, global fluency. And after that, we joined World Affairs Councils of America. So we are a little organization pulling a great big programming train that really acts as a hub. And it's a hub to connect information about opportunities, not only from our organization, but organizations like BASA, the many cultural nonprofits here in our community, the cultural chambers of commerce, really a hub to help with that information flow. And when it comes to expat women, I've been one. Yes. I've lived abroad. I've had that experience. I know it was probably some of the best years of my life, the opportunity to really live and learn in another culture. But I also know there were a lot of challenges and a lot of finding out who my support system was, yes, and who was around me. So at Upstate International, we're really looking to try to help build those friendships and form that network. We do a lot of programming now that's related also to international business. We held an expat entrepreneur event before COVID hit, talking about some of the accounting needs, the legal needs, right, the registration needs. We do information sessions with Upstate South Carolina Alliance and the European American Chamber and other chambers on different topics. Cryptocurrency and NAFTA, and doing business in Ireland or Germany or Chile.
Wow.
But all of that comes back to empowering the individual person. And I think that is at the heart of every success, whether it's a success with a stay-at-home mom or a success with an entrepreneur, or it's a success in, rebuilding your educational needs to get certified in a career you do here. All of that kind of flows back to what's at the heart of our mission.
Yeah, and that's wonderful, Tracy. I think that the work that you do at Upstate International is so needed, and it's so important. We see, people getting that sense of family too, because they can build community, they can meet other families, and start building community. And I think that that's such a unique way to be a part of the international community here and everywhere, just to be that hub of answers. And the word that we've used here so many times was the support system. And Upstate International is most definitely a huge support system to all families here in Upstate South Carolina. And I would like to once again thank you and thank Upstate International for being one of our sponsors as well, because it's such a huge honor for us to have you believing in what we do, because we want to reach out to women who, again, came here, as expat women, as spouses, and they want to find themselves again in that role of being the protagonist. So just listening to you, hearing about the entrepreneur program that you have there that will help women, and all individuals to know how to start a business. How do I start a business? I think that that's a great resource for all international people. And I want to say to those of you watching us who are in the Upstate South Carolina, you can become a member of Upstate International. If you go to their website, you're going to see all the information, all the events. Like Tracy said, you're having the International Month in March, and it's amazing. They have a whole month of events. So join, participate, get integrated, because, I think that if one thing was a recurrent thing today was you need to have that support system. So those of you listening and watching us, look for Upstate International. You can stop by, Tracy, right? And check out.
Clarissa, after COVID, we've just been itching to have people back in our doors, and we are open back up to the public. So if anyone has questions or they want to learn more about what we do and they need that opportunity to get back out, come stop by. We're open from 9 to 4. If you need us open later, just let me know and we can do an appointment. But come by and have a coffee with us and sit down and talk and let us know how you want to get involved. We are always looking for volunteers also who want to teach and share their language and culture. That is a large part of what we do. We try to keep language learning very affordable for the public. And so we use many, many English and foreign language teachers. We teach up to 14 languages depending on the semester. But the way that our students want to learn is a very personal way. They like interaction. They like to learn about the culture and why the language has developed the way it has. So we try to use native speakers as much as possible in those programs. And, networking is also really important. If you're going to reinvent yourself and go back to work, we have a 3-day conference coming up as our signature event at the end of this month. It's called Global Upstate. And you can Google it online. The Global Upstate Conference has 2 tracks, international business and foreign affairs. And we have about 56 speakers across 3 days.
Wow.
Where you can hear from, we have the past ambassador to Ukraine coming. We have international tax updates. We have small business in the international arena. There's many different topics on that website. But that's a good way for people if they want to come out, they're already looking to work, they can come out and network and see what the hot topics currently are going on that impact both the world and us here at home. So that's coming up. But yeah, Clarissa, it has been such a joy here to see these examples. I'm also thinking of women who have been part of our international women's group, and they meet monthly here at UI, but every single week they have activities that people can do as they choose: coffees, ladies' night out, hikes, fitness walks, craft days. But through that, we've had members who have ended up with support going and opening a restaurant, starting a translation service. And we have members of that group who are very young and have babies, small children, and we have members who have been there for 25 years.
Wow.
So that's a good opportunity as well to really see some examples of people who have successfully, become not only a part of the community, but they give back to our community in immeasurable ways.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. So ladies, we talked about volunteering. Tracy just gave you just opened the door there.
I need you. Come on.
Yeah. So if you want to teach your language, that's a great way. Volunteer, connect with Upstate International. And thank you so much, Tracy, for your participation, for joining us in this beautiful morning. And we really appreciate everything that you do and everything that Upstate International does for the community here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And guys, so I want to thank you all for watching us, for watching this event, for participating, for sending us those messages on YouTube. I took a peek there and I saw some of the encouragement messages, the encouraging messages that you sent. Thank you so much for joining us, for watching. The event is going to be recorded, so you can actually share it with a friend later. I also want to thank each one of the speakers again for taking the time out of your business day to join us and share everything that you shared with us. It was such an amazing and humbling experience to just hear what you had to say. Personally, I've already known all three of them, and they are women who make a very positive impact in my life to this day. Every time I see them, I feel impacted and encouraged by them. So thank you so much for being a speaker in our first virtual event, a first Reboot Your Career as an Expat Woman. I would also like to thank all of our sponsors for your support and encouragement and everything. They've been wonderful. You've been wonderful. So I would like to ask all of you watching to support their businesses, to attend their business, to check them out online, because they will make the international community grow bigger and stronger. So support our sponsors as well. I would love to thank Upstate International and also Greenville Tech for the info sessions. They both offer amazing opportunities for those of you watching us to start your career here in the US. So connect with them, talk to them, and see where you can start. I would also like to thank our team here at Bossa Creative. You guys are amazing. I think that you're so wonderful in your giving. You're so generous. So I want to thank Tiago Lopes, Isabel Lovisi, and Vinicius Monteiro for everything that you do for Bossa Creative and for the Protagonist Experience. Without you, this event would not be possible. So I want to thank you, all of you, with all of my heart. And now I want to say this. I said that for all of you participating in our event, you will receive one gift. But here at Bossa Creative, we like gifts. So instead of just one gift, we're going to give you two gifts. We put together a first steps kit, a guide for you. It's a very straightforward guide, so you're not going to be lost in a lot of pages with a lot of difficult words. We put together a very concise, like they say here in the US, short and sweet first steps guide for you to know what are the first 6 steps for you to apply for a job. That's it, 6 steps. And you're going to see here in this guide that we're going to be emailing to you some tips about how to prepare your resume, a lot of valuable tips, job listings that are there, keywords that you can use when you're looking for a job. All of that will be in your guide, and all of that will be yours soon when we email that to you for free. But we also going to email you an ebook that we put together that are also some of the things that us immigrants, we need to know about the American job market. So in this ebook, you're going to see some terminology, some tips, how things are different here than maybe in your country. So you're going to get a very good overview of what the job market is in the US. Again, this is also an ebook that is very straightforward, and it's a good read for you, and that's free for you. We're going to be sending you an email, and if you haven't, if we don't have your email, we're going to leave our registration open for a little bit at Eventbrite, and you can sign up, you can send us your email, and we'll be sending that email to you very soon. I also would like to ask you once again to follow us here on the Protagonist Experience on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Go ahead and follow us. We're going to have more events coming up. We're going to have an amazing event in the second semester that it's going to be very beneficial for you. We're going to have a headshot. So it is important to have a professional headshot taken here for you to put on your LinkedIn, your resume. So make sure that you stay tuned for also our tips, our lives, everything, so you stay connected and we can build community together, ladies. And finally, that's what popped up there. We're going to leave this QR code here on the screen. So if you have your smartphone, scan that QR code, and we're going to leave it up for a few minutes after we disconnect. And that QR code is a link to a survey. We want to hear from you, because what we do for you. We want to know what you need to hear, what you want to hear, what topics do you want to know more about when it comes to finding a job, starting a job, looking for a job, life in the US. So this is your opportunity for you to tell us what you need, what you want for us to prepare for you. So go ahead, get your smartphone, scan that QR code, just ask Siri or Alexa, scan that QR code. It's going to scan it for you. We're also going to be emailing this QR code for you so you can have it and you can take the survey. But it is very important that you do, because we want to tailor everything perfectly for you. So this is it, guys. I hope that you had a really great time. I did. And it was very, very good to be here with all of you on International Women's Day on our first Reboot Your Career as an expat woman in the US. So we hope to connect with all of you later on. We hope to stay in touch, connect with us, follow us here on our social media so you can stay connected. And we hope to see and connect and talk and interact with all of you very soon. Ciao, ciao.